Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art. And scrap, it's almost Monday. Let's create. Are you guys ready for some crafting today? We had a fun day yesterday at the catalog launch party, creating so many fun things. And we're back again today for our regular Sunday night crafting. And I'm just looking, my camera seems to be like at a weird angle or something. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so we are going to be using some things out of the new catalog. And we are going to be using my very favorite must-have first in the cart item, which was, if you were on following yesterday, this stamp set. Here we go again. And it's just so cute. There's like this dog that's just he's had his day, and it's been a day. And then there's this bear who's just like, I'm going back to hibernate. And then we got this frazzled little cat here, and this poor bunny that just can't even. And it's got sentiments all over it. The struggle is real. Monday, hope it's bearable. Here we go again. Take a nap or get back up. Don't make me. When life knocks you down, rise and shine. Feels like thinking of you. Am I right? Already again, but why? Then there's also glasses and a little tie. So it works for, you know, guys, girls, whatever. And it is just so stinking cute. Hey, Carol, nice to see you're watching. Heather's here too. Hello, hello. Good evening, Mom. Nice to see you're watching. So if you're popping on to join us this evening, just say hello or howdy so we know you're here. So I'm going to be using this stamp set on my layout. And I'm also going to be using a bit of stenciling. And I'm going to be using some pieces from the Mix-in paper pack from the new October to December catalog that just hit the website yesterday. So exciting. And so I'm going to begin with a 12 by 12 sheet of Shortbread cardstock. And sometimes we start with a plain blank white canvas, but today we're going with Shortbread just to kind of give it a little bit of difference. And we're immediately going to come in with some stenciling. And I'm actually using one of the stencils from the Card Front Stencil Pack number 2. And I don't know if you'll be able to see the pattern until I actually use it. But this one has 3 different patterns on it. It's got like little sort of line drawing dashes, vertical. And then it's got dots, and then it's got hearts. And we've used the hearts before. So today I'm going to be using these line dashy things up at the top. Hey Karen, good morning. Nice to see you're watching all the way from Australia. How's it going? And I'm going to be using Toffee ink, which I'm hoping will look nice with the Shortbread. So we've got our Toffee ink. I've got my blending tool. And I should mention that this layout that I'm doing tonight is inspired by one sketch that I saw online. I think it was on Pinterest. And the lady who posted it was Rochelle Spears. And so, so that's where my inspiration is coming from. So I'm just going to load up my little blending brush here with some Toffee ink. And I want to kind of start down here, and I'm going to add a little bit of pattern at the bottom, and maybe right about here. And I'm just going to kind of go lightly with this inking. I don't want it to be too in your face. I just want a little bit of pattern and texture happening. So I'm not going to fill it all in. It's just going to be hit and miss. Just enough to say, yep, there's pattern there, okay? So hopefully you can see that pattern now that there's some ink on it. So it's kind of a fun, just like a drawn marker line sort of pattern. And I think it's kind of interesting. It almost, on the Shortbread, using this Toffee, It looks almost like I've burnt it. You know what this would be cool? It almost looks like you dipped corn cob in ink and you've made a print with the corn kernels. So if you were doing a layout in the summer, barbecue and corn boil, and you wanted some interesting texture in the background, I think this would be a fun texture to use. It would look like, you know, the buttery corn leftovers type of thing. And so let's add a little bit up here as well, just up at the top, just kind of above about the 6-inch mark. I'm just going to add another sort of meandering bit of ink up here. There we go. Lovely. Okay, so that's all we're adding of that. So let me set that aside. I'll have to give that a wash later. And close up my Toffee ink before I stick something in it, because that's inevitable. If I leave ink open, something will always get in it. Does anybody else have that problem? If you just think, oh, I'll be using that again in a minute, and you leave it open, it never fails that you know, stick the edge of your paper in there, and yeah, it always happens. Or your arm. Hey, Joanne, nice to see her watching. Good evening. Oh, Karen, daylight savings has kicked in. Oh, we always love that when that happens here. Not so much. It looks like the burnt toast in your kitchen. Yeah, totally. Could be. I think it's kind of a fun thing. This might be good for people who are not so good at baking, right? And then I've got, I'm going to kind of leave the photo to the end. It'll be a bit of a surprise. But I've got a couple of stitched rectangle frames. I have a couple. I'm trying to pick the other one up. There we go. It's fighting me. I have a couple of stitched rectangle frames, and these were cut out using a retired product. And, you know, sometimes it's hard because I want to show you all the new things. But we have to use the tools that we have, right? So whenever you're working on a sketch and working on a layout, you know what? Just because you got new stuff doesn't mean you don't go back into your supplies and pull out the things that you love or maybe haven't used in a while, because I always want to encourage you to use what you have. So I've used these, and they were called the Stitch Rectangle Frames, and I used the largest one to create these 2 black frames, and these were cut out using the black cardstock that has the black core. It's black all the way through. There's no white core on it. So that's kind of nice because it gives you that really significant black edge. I don't know if that's the right word, but anyway, to stick these frames down, I'm going to need a little bit of liquid glue because I will never ever get my tape runner to line up on these. So I'm just going to go around it with some liquid glue all the way around. These are wide enough that I don't have to do the tap, tap, tapping on my hand, but you could if you wanted to. And then I'm going to add one, maybe about there, just kind of off on a kilter like that. And then we're going to put some ink on the other one, and I cut these both the same size. We're going to have a 4x6 photo kind of centered on this page, which is sometimes a bit unusual for me to center a photo, but I think it works for the layout that I'm working on. This sketch was quite interesting, and so I thought I would work on it. So I'm kind of guessing by gollying it right now. We'll see if I end up with everything in the right place. Gotta love it. And then from the mix-in collection, the part that I'm using, and this is the October through December mix-ins, which are gorgeous, and they match with all of the collections. I have, they match with all the collections from the catalog. I have chosen 3 of the zip strips from the mix-ins. So I have this Scarlet Plaid. I have this Harbour kind of textile pattern with a flower motif on it. And then I also have this Harbour one that's got a bit of a Toffee pinstripe or scarlet pinstripe, and then some stitching down the center. And these have all been cut at 9.5 inches long, okay? And so what I'm going to do, let me just grab my adhesive. I moved it out of my way, and now I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. It was hiding. I'm going to grab some adhesive and just add some to these strips. And we're going to kind of lay them across, and we're going to make them a little bit uneven. Even though they're all cut to the same length, we want to create sort of an uneven texture with them. And I just realized I wasn't looking at the comments. Hey, Robin! Nice to see you watching. Yes, Joanne! They could be muddy tire tracks. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. For thinking about those who are out doing the four-wheeling. Ooh, that's such a good idea. You're so smart. So smart. I love it when people come up with ideas for things. Yep, Carol, always got to use your stuff. We bought it, now we need to use it, right? And so we're going to add, what I'm going to do is, because these two are kind of the same color, the Harbour, I'm going to stick this scarlet plaid in between. And it's really fun when you're doing strips across a page to use these zip strips, right? Sometimes we forget about them. We cut them off the pages, off the pattern papers, and then we kind of lose track of them sometimes. Some people even store them separate from the pattern papers. And I find that they just kind of get lost in the shuffle. And so I like using them up. I actually tend to run out of them. Get them all used up, and then I'm like, oh, wait, wasn't there a fun zip strip? And then I'm like, oh, darn, used them all. And so sometimes that happens. Of course, they have that new thing now in the core catalog, the what is it called? The strip savers, where you can put the memory protectors in an album, and it's got the slots for putting strips of paper and stuff in. So that's, that's a thing for people who have a tendency to lose their zip strips. Okay, so I'm going to be adding a matting here, and this is also from that Mix-in paper collection. So I'm not using any of the collections in the catalog. I'm just using the Mix-in paper pack for this layout. And so this is a really fun one that's kind of got like a little chevron-y stitch. It reminds me of like a tea towel or something on top of the scarlet. So I'm going to just lay this here because I want to get a little bit of an idea of where I'm going. Because the next thing that I'm adding is a couple of doilies. And again, this is another item. We just recently had doilies from the Hope and Kindness collection. But this is an older doily. It's just called Doily. It was just a single doily, and it's got the cute little florals around, which kind of reminded me of the ones in this zip strip. And so I cut out 2 of them out of Harbour Cardstock, and I actually, inadvertently, I cut one on the true color side and one on the lighter side of Harbour. So I actually have 2 of the both variations of the Harbour color. I didn't mean to do that, but that's just what happens sometimes. I guess I wasn't paying attention, and so that's okay. I kind of like it, so we're going to go with it. And so these I'm going to kind of tuck in around. That's why I've got my matting here, even though I haven't got the photo. I'm leaving the photo later because it's a surprise, but also because my lights tend to make it glare. So we're avoiding the glare. And so I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to this. If I wanted to, I could be particular and glue the edges down on this. And in fact, I'll show you what I do. I was just talking about it earlier. I put glue on my hand like this, just in a little puddle. And then I take something that's kind of intricate like this, and I just tap it in the glue on my hand. And it just seems to pick up just enough glue without it having glue that's kind of sogging everywhere, right? Sometimes with these little intricate things, you get too much glue on there, and then it's just sort of a soggy mess that happens. So let's stick that one down like that. And then we'll add this one. I think I like having this nice sort of circular piece that kind of breaks up all of the straight lines that are happening. I also like the stenciling for that too, because it's not a straight line, right? They're just kind of drawn. So that kind of adds a little bit of, I guess you could say, organic shape, where it's not just all straight lines. Gives it a little bit of, that one wants to pop up because I got liquid glue on it. So it doesn't want to lay flat for me. And, but that's okay. It'll stick eventually. If you find that you've stuck something down that doesn't want to stay stuck down, then you just bring your good old acrylic blocks in, and you can put them down like that, and that'll kind of hold it down, hold the fort until it sticks a little bit. How wide are the zip strips? Zip strips are 1/2 inch, and then the length is 9.5 inches for this one. Yeah, so 9.5 inches. So I cut them all the same length, and then just kind of gave a little bit of variety in placement. Okay, so we've got all that. Now we're going to do some stamping with the fun stamp set. And the animal that I'm going to be using today is this cat, because it's just like, meh, I can't even. Look at the little frazzled whisker lines. I was just like, oh, so cute. Have to use that. And let me see now. I had a piece of paper. Oh, there it is. I stuck it under my stencil. So I'm going to use a piece of Toffee paper to stamp out my my little guy. And I also forgot to bring in this, my stamping Versamat. This one is the one I use for stamping because it's a little bit newer than some that I own. I own about 5. And because it's a little bit newer, sorry, I'm way out of frame here and I'm just taking a moment for my screen to catch up. Because it's newer, the back is so nice and smooth and perfect for stamping. And so I've got my little kitty loaded up here, and I wiped the adhesive off my hand. But I'm going to season him up because I haven't even used him yet. I'm going to grab my intense black ink for this. And I'm going to ink up the little kitty. So cute. The Versamat as a stamping surface is really important if your tabletop is maybe a little bit uneven, or if you use one of those textured plastic folding tables, you know, with the nubbly surface. It's really difficult sometimes to get a good stamped image on that. Or if you're just having trouble getting a good image because of the foaminess that's here, it just gives you the right amount of pressure to get everything stamped nicely. So I'm going to stamp that, but the reason why I brought in the whole Versamat like this, and we're going to shuffle everything again, is because I'm going to actually do some stamping right on my layout, okay? Are you nervous yet? Because sometimes stamping on your layout at this point is a little bit nerve-wracking, right? Because you're like, if I make a mistake, it's going to be bad. So what I want to bring in is the title for my layout is called Monday, The Struggle is Real. And that's what we're going to be stamping on here right now. So coming back in with the black ink. And I've loaded those 2 sentiments up on the same block. We'll get it seasoned because these are brand new. First time using them. So we got to double check our ink. And the other thing we need to double check, this is very important when you're stamping direct to project, is you want to make sure that you didn't pick up any stray ink, because there's nothing worse than getting your thing stamped on and then realizing that you have now added ink in places that you didn't want ink in. You know, you get the edges of your stamp block, you know, outlined around your thing. Sometimes you can hide it, and I have done that, but it's best to check before you do that, because, you know, the struggle is real. So we've got our Monday, the struggle is real, and then we're going to shift it over because we're going to do some more stamping. But first I need to fussy cut out my little kitty here. You knew it was going to happen. Was anybody taking bets on how long it was going to be before I got through this layout without fussy cutting? So I'm just going to go ahead with my lovely little non-stick micro tip scissors. And I'm just going to fussy cut around this guy. Now, these can actually be purchased with thin cuts. It's a little bit more expensive because you're buying an extra product. But I don't bother. I just buy this stamp because I love my fussy cutting. It makes me happy. I actually find it relaxing. So I like to pivot my paper as I go around. Carol says you were taking bets on whether I was going to do fussy cutting. You know it was going to happen. It almost always happens, even if it's just dovetailing. We get the scissors out. My favorite tool in the craft room is my scissors. Hands down. So let's go around. This one is actually really easy because these are nice, nice shaped animals. They're not too intricate, and you know, it's just easy peasy. Look at that. And this little kitty's gonna hang out down here, just kind of in this little spot. So I've got a couple other sentiments that I'm going to stamp. And the first one is, but why? But why? Like, but why? And you'll understand when you see the photo. So I'm going to ink this up. And I've got it on my tiniest little 1-inch block. So hopefully I can get it lined up. I'm going to put it right beside the kitty's head. But why? Is like his little thought bubble, right? But why? And then the other one I'm going to do is, don't make me. Don't make me. Ah. I love the sentiments in this. You know, it's like all the things that you think of when you first wake up on a Monday. It's just hilarious. And I'm going to stamp that down here. Don't make me. So our poor little kitty is just like, I don't even want to. Don't make me. It makes me laugh. You know, you got to have things that just make you chuckle, right? So let's kind of put ourselves back together here. And it's going to take me a moment to have the video catch up with my layout. Now that we've got all the things kind of stamped where we want them. And there we go. Sort of like that. Let's attach our, matting to our base page. And you'll notice there's not a lot of dimension happening on this page yet. I haven't used any foam tape. And everything is just papers and ink so far. So it's nice and low profile for people who like to craft with low profile. And let's see, right about there, I think. Yep. Looks good. And then our little kitty, which I could put a little, you know what, I'm going to put just a little bit of thin foam tape. Just after I said I'm not doing anything much. Just because there's the frame in behind him. So I'm just going to put a couple of dabs of foam tape. One up here on his head. And one down by his legs. And so he'll kind of straddle that frame. So he stays flat. As opposed to kind of being bulged in the middle. It's, you know, like Battle of the Bulge. But with a kitty. All right. So there's that. But why? Don't make me. He's so cute. But why? All right, so now you get to see the photo that I'm bringing in here, just as we're finishing up. So this, can you guess who this is? Look at the lips. Have you ever done that or had kids that did that where they pull the hood up and just tighten it till all you see is their end of their nose? This was Julia out on the front porch one day. And I don't know what she was up to, but she's just like looking sideways at me. And she's just like, yeah, no, it's not happening. That is the photo. I'm laughing at myself. Oh my goodness. She was just, the struggle was too much that day, right? She was just gonna pull the ends and, you know, hide away from the world for a minute. So I thought that would go really cute. It's just kind of an everyday kind of photo. It's nothing fancy, but it definitely was one of those the struggle is real moments. So there we go. And I added the red into this layout because the winter coat that she has, you can see it down here, just in the very tip of the corner here. It has red. The whole bottom of the coat is red and the top is black. So I thought it would go really well with this color combination. And there's a bit of sort of bluish happening in the photo. Mom says it probably had to do with insects. It quite likely did, because she tends to be outside and then be like, ah, bugs. Oh, funnily enough, she was at Air Cadet field training exercises yesterday. And the bugs didn't bother her at all. She was more than happy to be out with the bugs. She had a fun day. And so now I'm bringing in some of the dots from the Black and White Dots collection. And I'm just going to add a few of these black dots around for a little bit of embellishment. So let's add a little one there by our title. Maybe another one. Mondays. Gotta love Mondays. And we'll add one. Yep, we'll do one there. And then maybe a couple down here as well. Just filling in a few little spots. And let me see. We'll put some down here by the bottom as well. But why? Don't make me. Just like that. Oh my goodness. So cute. There we go. I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. Maybe just a couple little ones just up here on the edge of the mat. I'm going to do 2 of the same size. Just like that. So cute. So there is our layout for this evening. So we started with our shortbread. We added some Toffee stenciling just for a little bit of pattern in the background. Very subtle. And then layered up those stitched rectangle frames in the black cardstock with the black core. And then, of course, our fun doilies, using those retired thin cuts. And in Harbour, 2 different colors of Harbour. And then the zip strips from the Mix-in collection for the October to December collections, and in 3 different patterns. Then doing the stamping with that really fun Here We Go Again stamp set. Monday, the struggle is real. I love this little kitty. Isn't it so cute? He's just like, meh, can't even, but why? Don't make me. And I just think that is really fun. And you know what? We need to document those days, right? Those moments, even if they're not an important occasion, but just, you know, the feeling, the sentiment, how the day was going. And so I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that come together. Again, just to let you know, that was from a sketch from Pinterest that was posted by Rochelle Spears. All right. Have a wonderful Sunday night and a beautiful start to your Monday tomorrow. I hope it's not too much of a struggle, and we will see you soon. All right, toodaloo. Bye.